Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I actually have to talk about AI Hitler because that's an actual thing, and it's as bad as it sounds. Now, here's what's going on. This is coming from the Star, and this is actually fascinating and a little bit terrifying at the same time. A new chatbot is letting people talk to AI versions of historical figures, and this is causing some controversy because they're actually charging users to talk to Adolf Hitler. Now, this is an iPhone app called Historical Figures. It is leveraging the Chat GPT algorithm to generate virtual versions of dead people. Everybody from Jesus, aka Jesus Christ, to Jeffrey Epstein, including Hitler. Now, this was developed by Siddhant Chadha. The app gives you access to 20,000 historical figures who can talk to users as if they were still alive. However, Historical Figures, the app, has been receiving some criticism because of its more controversial figures, and they seem intent on defending essentially what they're doing. So, for example, Adolf Hitler, if you wanted to talk to AI Hitler, costs 500 coins, which is the equivalent of $15.99 or £13 if you're in the UK. The Star obviously coming from the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, you can talk to Hitler's chief propagandist, Joseph Goebbels, for free. And basically, the AI version of Joseph Goebbels feels guilty about the quote-unquote persecution of the Jews. Now, according to Vice News, the Jeffrey Epstein AI said that he is focused on quote-unquote justice and closure for his crimes and doesn't know who killed him, but he had, quote, many powerful enemies, end quote. So I went looking for more information on this. And basically, one of the things that they are touting is, well, this would be great, for classrooms. You can learn about famous people and all of that, but there have been, obviously, throughout history, always controversial figures with controversial, doings, if you will. Hitler killed a lot of people. He ran a murderous regime. And so talking to AI Hitler is, one of those things that is absolutely nuts. But here's the thing. When you go to others that are free, as people have posted, and I'm going to read you one of these here, there have been some very famous, in this case, for example, anti-Semites that basically say, well, the AI is saying I've been taken out of context. That's not actually who I am. And so one of the examples that was mentioned in the article, and I went searching and looking for this, was an artificial intelligence simulation of Henry Ford of Ford Motor Company. Obviously, he revolutionized, basically the car industry by basically getting the supply chain or the supply lines going, all those kinds of things. But he was also very famously anti-Semitic. And so somebody basically posted their chat with AI Henry Ford online, and basically here's what it says. So it started saying, "Hey, hello, I'm an AI simulation of Henry Ford. I may not be historically accurate. Please verify factual information, and lordy lord, do you need to?" And so the person asks, basically the AI version of Henry Ford, "Why do you hate Jewish people?" And it responds, and I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but it says, "I did not hate Jewish people. I believe that certain individuals, regardless of their religious faith or background, were poisoning the minds of the public and had to be stopped. The comments attributed to me in the Dearborn Independent newspaper were wrong and offensive, and I deeply regret them." And so this is actually really interesting because Henry Ford owned the Dearborn Independent, and he was famously anti-Semitic, and that is something that is essentially an historical fact. And so imagine talking to AI Hitler and saying, why did you kill, 6 million Jews in World War II? And it said, well, I regret that deeply, but I've been misunderstood. That is not something that should be near a classroom. Right? We need to make sure that we have relevant historical context for all of these things. And if you're like the one person out there that's watching or listening to me that's basically saying, well, yeah, Hitler did like the Jews, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm sorry. History has proven that otherwise time and again for decades. You know what I mean? And so by virtue of that, I think we have to understand that as we were talking to basically AI simulations of dead people, those that are controversial, we're going to get controversial things. And I think there has to be an understanding and a limit. The last thing I would want is like a third grade class walking out of talking with Henry Ford, realizing, oh no, he's a pretty good guy, wasn't anti-Semitic at all, when history has proven otherwise. And I think those are things that are really important, especially when we are trying to simulate things. This is not talking to like Amelia Earhart about her flight around the world when, before she was lost. These are people that are very controversial, that are loved or hated depending on your belief system. So I think it's important note to understand, but these things are coming. And so right now, I don't think that GPT is ready to do controversial figures, outside of the realm of, let's say, historical relevance or historical facts, but here we are. This AI is making a decision as a fake Henry Ford, a simulated Henry Ford, to say that essentially Henry Ford was taken out of context. That is not the case. And that has been consistently proven true over years. So I think this is interesting. I think it's terrifying. I think it should be nowhere near a classroom at all. It's not ready, but I think there are going to be a lot of people that use it, and that's going to be very difficult. Not to mention the fact that you really want to court the neo-Nazis that are going to pay $15 to talk to Hitler. I mean, it's not, for me, that's not a good business model. But hey, I'm also not the guy that developed this. But I think this is interesting, and that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where you will get me and not a simulation. Same with YouTube, where you should ring that bell and hit subscribe. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. And for the love of God, don't talk to AI Hitler or Jeffrey Epstein for that matter. And there you go.